So I don't know how many of you out there are like me in that I am extremely curious. I am a very curious person. I am also very observant. And all I can think is that maybe because I am an artist, maybe that's why I am so visual. I mean, so oriented regarding details and observations, and I am just awfully curious. But at any rate, when you are in my age group, and I am 59 plus, I'll be 60 next February, but when you're my age, I hate to put it this way, but you're pretty much second in line to exit, if we might say, because the generation before us is the generation that is now beginning to thin out, right? Because those are the people who are in their 80s, their 90s, their hundreds, right? And then once they're no more, then it's our turn. Do you agree? So basically, when you're like me, 59 plus, or maybe a little younger, maybe a little later in life, you're going to notice that the previous generation, the one above yours, it begins to thin out. And you begin to, or at least I do, I begin to observe, first of all, at what age did that person go? What was the level of physical fitness? What was her or his health like? What did these people eat? What did they do on daily life? What did they not do in their lives, etc.? And so that's something that I question a lot of things, because there is this idea, there's this narrative nowadays out there that if you have a very strong grip and you can walk around, for a minute and a half with very, very, very heavy weights, or if you can dead hang from a pole or a bar for a minute and a half, or if you have a very strong grip, or if you can get up from the floor without using your hands or your elbows or your arms, without assisting yourself like that, then those are biomarkers of longevity. And hooey, that is an absolute ridiculous thing to say, honestly. When I look around, the people in my life or the people I knew, acquaintances or family members who are no longer, and what I am observing as a member of society, if I go to a gym, if I go to the market, if I go to work, if I go out on the street to do something, I look around, and I don't know about you, but most people in their 80s, 90s, and above have very, very skinny legs and very, very skinny arms, but they have a large girdle or large stomach. And this is what is known as sarcopenia. And I speak about sarcopenia a lot in my channel because it's one of those things that is unhealthy and it doesn't look right. The distribution of the body becomes very, very awkward in that the trunk becomes very large, especially the midsection, but then the arms and the legs are very, very skinny. And you have to wonder how such skinny legs can support such heavy weight. And this is what is called sarcopenia. And it is the result of loss of muscle mass. That's what it's all about. Well, we hear a lot about, if you have sarcopenia, you will have a short life, or you're not going to have longevity. Or if you develop dementia, you only have so many years to live. Or if you don't have a strong grip, or you cannot dead hang from somewhere for a minute and a half, or carry heavy stuff, or if you cannot get up from the floor without the use of your hands, all of those things are biomarkers. And it does not spell long life or longevity, but they all spell short life or a number of years to live. This is such a stupid statement to make that is not even real, but it is growing legs. Now everyone is repeating the same thing in a different version. The last version was, well, if you do not have a strong grip, you have a 40% higher risk for dying within whatever number of years. This is all craziness, guys. This is crazy. We don't have to believe everything that we are being told. It is okay to question some of the stuff that we're hearing out there. It's just too stupid. How many of you have you seen or worked with or met or have in your family, say, someone who is borderline obese or very much overweight, who's a smoker, has poor health, drinks too much alcohol, too much, does not have good nutrition, but is still working, hasn't retired, mentally sharp, is practicing law, maybe medicine, in his mid-80s, maybe even older, or maybe teaching at an university as a professor or an adjunct or an assistant. How many of you know people like this? We all do. I know people like this. I see them all over the place. I've met them, I've seen them. They have been around me, they have been in my family. And I can tell you, nothing is more stupid than to say that if you can get up from the floor without using your hands, or if you have a strong grip, those are biomarkers of longevity. That is too stupid. And we should not believe everything that we're being told. However, the things that are biomarkers, or should be, because then again, God forbid, you could step out of your home and a car could hit you, right? So none of us have assurances. We don't have any guarantees. We don't know for how long we're going to live, just because we have a strong or a weak grip, or we can get off from the floor without hands or not. Those are not, it means absolutely nothing. What kind of a lifestyle do you have? Are you at high risk? Are you reckless? Do you drink too much alcohol, consume too much alcohol? Are you a heavy smoker? Do you eat nothing but trans fats and candy and Coca-Cola and sugars? Is your diet based and composed of that? Do you sleep between 4 and 5 hours per night? Do you have a very poor quality deep sleep per night? Do you not ever exercise? Those are biomarkers. And chances are that you're not going to make it too far in the race of life. But if you do basic things such as moving within your home, if you're an old person, elderly, and you move around your home, you do the very necessaries, the very basic things, such as lifting the grocery bags, when they are left at your door, and you bring them into your kitchen, and you clean your own dishes, and you mop, and you sweep, and you clean after your cat, and you tend to your husband's needs, etc. You should be able to live a very long life, unless you are, again, consuming drugs or alcohol, or if you're smoking like a chimney, if you are sleeping very poorly every night, if you have chronic stress. Chronic stress will cause inflammation, will damage your brain, will damage your heart. Chronic stress is one of the worst things for your longevity, okay? All of these things that I'm mentioning here are much better biomarkers than the so-called grip test or getting up from the floor without using your hands. What about sarcopenia? Oh, well, if you have sarcopenia, you only have this long to live. Not so. Every elderly person, just about, with a very few minor exceptions that I see, especially online, right? They're online and they're online for a reason, right? Because they don't look like that. But in real life, I'm saying, if you go to a supermarket right now, every elderly person has the skinny legs, the skinny arms with a big girdle. Sarcopenia. A lot of them are borderline obese, and some of them are still working, and they are in their 90s. The things we're being told are not always accurate. They're trying to sell us something. And when I say they, I mean the researchers and the people delivering this information. But the people who are actually buying into it and spreading it are doing a lot of damage, because a lot of people are not informed and they're buying into that idea, and they're really placing their focus and their resources and efforts in the wrong things. If you do the very basic things in life, if you move every day, if you're not bedridden, but if you move, you get up in the morning, you fix yourself breakfast, you do the dishes, you mop, you go to your car, you go shopping, you come back, you bring the grocery bags in, and you're elderly, you're doing these things, you are doing just fine. Do not allow people to fill your head with things that are inaccurate and numbers that are being manipulated by those who can.